Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 3 Martini Lunch. It is a virtual networking event put together by Rockstar Connect with some of the greatest panelists in the Rockstar Connect world, and we're real happy to see everyone here. It looks like both Katie and Jenny may be going to some events tonight, right?
I'm not going to an event tonight.
Well, your hair looks great. You should probably find an event to go to.
Oh, I'm good. I had messaged earlier. I have to leave early because I'm going to be on the news. So I have to leave.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. So we'll start with you with the question of the week.
That does count as an event.
That is definitely an event, for sure. Andrew, welcome back. Your hair looks wonderful, too. And Sam needs to grow some. But we were talking about hair before you came on, and everyone was getting congratulated for their wonderful hair. Clint, yeah, that's a good job there, Clint. Mark's got a good head of hair. Adam's got a good head of hair. I have some hair on my head.
You do?
A little bit, yeah. I told my hairdresser.
I got it everywhere.
He's got it everywhere. You're definitely a hairy guy. Hairy dude. Hey, well, thank you everyone for coming on the show today. Today, we're going to teach people in the audience about deals, how you get deals, how you make deals. Excuse me. In the last year, everyone in this crowd has been rocking and rolling despite COVID, and now everything is wide open. A lot more businesses coming in. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask everybody if they're willing to. They don't have to. They can get as descriptive or non-descriptive that they want. What was the biggest deal they've had this year? How were they introduced to the deal? And how did they close the deal? What do I mean by that? Did you get it through a referral? Was it through advertising? Did someone else help you close it? Did you close it yourself? Was it did it take you one phone call to close it? Or was it a relationship type of thing where you had to have a whole bunch of meetings? We sort of want to know how those fantastic deals happen. Let's start off with Sam. So Sam, last night you went to the Heart of North Carolina event in Asheboro, first night of that event. What were your thoughts on that? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, definitely. Very enjoyable. It was a nice atmosphere. The brewery it was really cool to see their equipment walking in through the back and coming in. So it was a nice little spot. And quite a few people came from about 30, 40 minutes away, that was really nice to see that people put in the effort. And the complaint there seemed to be that not many people are back to live events. And so that's what they were personally seeking. And that's great that we're having them and that Kim started her first one. And congratulations. I don't know if she's on or not, but congratulations to her. She's listening great.
Yeah, what's great is, we call it the Heart of North Carolina, or Kim named it the Heart of North Carolina, because Asheboro is smack dab in the middle of the state and near major cities like Raleigh and Charlotte, and we'll call Greensboro a major city. And people came from all of those cities to go to the event because it was right there in the middle of the state. Love to try this in other states, find out where the heart of that state is, and have a Heart of South Carolina event, a Heart of Texas event, a Heart of Canada event, if they ever have events again in Canada. So we are looking for hosts to have those type of events, especially people that want to do business all over their state. So please, reach out to the team of Rockstar Connect, either through our website or our 1-800 number. To let us know who wants to host events. I was just hearing Jenny's hosting a networking event tonight, and the amount of work that she has to do for it, even with an assistant, sounds a little bit exhausting. Our team does all that work. Our hosts actually just show up at our events. That's all they do. Put a couple invites in and they show up. Hey, so let's start. Okay, Sam, biggest deal of the year. How did you get it? How did you close it?
I'm going to be more of a listener on this one. I'm still in the upstart stages. Haven't gotten a biggest deal of the year yet.
You do it from your other business, your previous business you have more than one business. Sam has several.
That's true. Yeah, juggling between three now, actually. Just through relationship building. I'm not big on being in your face salesperson-y. Like some people have what some people call an A-type personality, like in your face, and then coming up with ABC, always be closing type rebuttals to the people they're dealing with. I kind of make my service, let it be known what it is, and then kind of stand behind that, and then hopefully people will see it and come to it. And when they do, we try to figure out what it is that they need, try to get to the core of it, and see if we can work together. But it always is a relationship.
He's a little shy to tell us what the big deal was, but I'm sure there was one. What are your three businesses? Because I only knew of one. What are the
I cannot speak of the third. That I should have shut my mouth, because that's a personal project. But Your Solution is a staffing company. If you knew someone that needed full-time help, that help could be done from anywhere, right? Our employees only work virtually, then we would like to see if we can apply for that position. We don't work with everyone, but we do work with quite a few different people. General contractors, architects, accountants, bookkeepers, appraisal companies. The other business is actually a change that happened. I'm parting ways from the company that I was working with. This is just happening now, that I was working with, and then launching my own thing in Charlotte, doing measurements and photography for realtors, but then also providing 3D rendering and architectural services with architects and general contractors.
Oh, very nice.
So that's coming up now. I'll share some more on Wednesday. Forgive me.
It's okay. You'll have to keep us in the loop on that. Andrew, biggest deal of the last year. How did you accomplish it? Was it through your networking? Was it through advertising, marketing?
It was a real estate transaction, and the source of it was somebody who I had not personally thought of in a long time, but because of my, I guess, social proof, just online presence constantly with videos and content and things that, may seem small. Apparently this person saw them over and over and over again. And she finally reached out, and I just sold her first rental property. She has 2 more to sell. And then she's thinking about selling her primary home.
Well, that's a great thing. The thing with social media and real estate, and I see a lot of real estate stuff in my feed, I think a lot of the agents overdo the real estate part. And they just do a little too much real estate and less about who they are as a person.
Yeah, they don't do enough. Just, this is me. This is who I am. Get to know me. Here's what I'm doing today. It's really scripted and fake sounding.
Yeah. Also, I think we discussed this last week. Someone had told me I'm not using the word that I'm crazy busy anymore. It's like the worst. So now it's productive. I've been very productive lately.
Yeah,
that's a lot better.
I also like when I heard that CMA was no longer the correct phrase.
What's the correct phrase?
A market absorption analysis, which by definition is the same damn thing, but it sounds new and fresh for people who are so tired of hearing about CMAs and everything.
Well, there's a little good news on the real estate front. It seems that there has been a little pop in the lumber bubble, and lumber is coming down. So that may mean a little bit of a reprieve for builders and real estate agents and people that want to buy a new home. Also, for those of you who want to put a new deck on your home or fence or anything else, now might be the time to start getting those estimates. Isn't everything seem to be a little bit more expensive now, guys?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. Restaurants, grocery stores, you name it. There's no, it appears to be no deals out there, but I'm sure there are. Hey, Adam, out in Canada. Biggest deal you've done in the last year. How did you get it? Did you have to nurture it, or was it a one and done, get on a phone call and make the deal?
So I got the deal by proving my results. and that's a new thing we've actually introduced at Adam Connects, is we guarantee the results for our clients. But this was before the guarantee, and I actually produced one of my own cards for myself and for my wife. And we do digital branding cards, and we created one for a cryptocurrency business we were in. And I made that available to other people when they said, "How are you doing so well? How are you doing so well?" went ahead and we showed them what we were doing, and I'm now at $19,000 worth of sales of digital business cards. They're all replicated. It cost me nothing. It cost me $25 to produce a $295 product for them. So we anticipate that this will probably double in size by the end of the year. But so far, through networking and proof, social proof, we've garnered a $19,000 sale on a product that's less than $500.
That's terrific. Now, does your wife work with you, Sarah, on these projects? Do you like bounce things back and forth, or do you all both have your own things, more or less?
Well, on the crypto side, that's her deal. She's really a big part of it. I'm a follower with her on it. She has a team of several hundred people, but we work on that together.
It's funny, that they chose the name crypto. It's almost like sort of an odd choice for them, since we have things like cryptozoology, which deals with like Bigfoot and Loch Ness,
right?
Stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean that was not a big confidence building.
The big money monster.
Yeah, something like that. The big money monster. Yeah, that's what you should call it. Mark, the big deal of the year.
The big deal of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I have two that are vying to be number one.
Wow. Okay. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, basically, these came to me just from being around, I think I've said this before here. To me, I equate salespeople into two kinds of people. There's the dog person and the cat person. The dog person's going to jump up on you, bug you, call you, you push him down, he's still going to jump up on you. There's a type of person where you'll hang up on them and they'll go, "Did we get disconnected?"
Mm-hmm.
Or I actually knew someone once where someone got a restraining order against them. And he said, "Well, when's it going to end?" "Well, what do you mean? Because then I can call you again." I mean, that's the dog person to me. The cat person tells you what they've got to say. They might rub up against you once, maybe twice, but if you don't pick them up and pet them or talk to them, they walk away. And then if you want to talk to them again, you got to chase them. And that goes against all the people with social media marketing and CRM. But right before this, I was on a Zoom call. We finally closed it, and we're moving forward with the third largest mortgage company in the United States. 2,000 mortgages a month, 1,200 new originations, 800 refis. That's, great. And then we working at the same time with a group from the middle of the country that has connections into trucking organizations, where they have a group of 35,000 truckers, another group of 9,000. They've got all the FedEx people that drive trucks as part of their little thing happening. So for us, those are, very, very large, $100 million deals potentially. So I'm excited.
It's exciting. Is there something in between those two type of salespeople?
Not to me. There probably is, but I just don't have time to talk to people when I'm talking to them, when I'm doing sales coaching, and I just say, here's the two types, and it works really well.
I mean, I would say I fall into the second category. I like to present a phenomenal opportunity and then let them decide whether they want to pursue it.
Exactly. You're the cat.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, sometimes, with real estate, the way real estate's moving right now, time is of the essence. Like literally, I'm bringing my clients deals every day, right. Not just getting them into houses. I'm getting them into deals where they're walking away with $50,000 equity, $200,000 equity. And if they hesitate, there's someone else who'll take that. It's going to take that opportunity.
No questions. It's a little bit the demographic for what you do is different than what I do. Because when you're dealing with money, people can tell when you've got commission breath or you're desperate. So it's much better to be able to have the ability to walk away and say, okay, no problem. If you're
I think
when you're interested, call me.
I think for salespeople that are successful right now, this is the time they can prove that they don't have commission breath.
Right.
Because there's so much commission laying out there, and there's only so many clients that they can serve, and there's only so many deals they can put out there. They have a limited amount of opportunities that are available, and you really have to grab the opportunities while you can. One of my favorite closes that I use, and Clint and Sam will really appreciate this one, or they won't. This is like my close that works. I put this out at the last minute. If I'm almost done with the client, I say, opportunity is like a bald-headed man with one hair left on his head. You got to grab it while you can. And you know that person's on the other end of the phone going like this. And the next thing is, how does your name appear on your credit card left to right? Right, Mark?
Ours doesn't work. Again, we're not a credit card oriented thing, but I do something a little bit different. It's maybe the same.
What's your best close?
This probably isn't for you.
That's a very good one. That's a very simple, easy close. Does anyone here have a close they use, or is there anyone in the panel who doesn't know what a close is? If you don't know what a close is and you don't want to say it in front of the whole audience, you can reach out to me and I'll give you 4 good closes that will make you thousands of dollars this week in your business. How's that? You can reach out to me and I'll give you 4 good closes. Andrew, you got a good close that you use?
It's similar to Mark's, kind of create that feeling of your own little cool club or whatever and say, oh, you know what? Maybe we're not a great fit for you. I wish you all the best. There's a million other agents in town. And all of a sudden that apple or carrot or whatever you were dangling in front of them disappears. And then they turn around and start chasing you. Like, wait, come back.
What I like about that is you're letting out to them know there are other good agents out there.
Yeah, and I'll give them names and numbers. I don't care.
But they have to start another search all over again.
And they get really crunchy when they got to go back to square one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you have to go get those 3 quotes, they tell everybody go out there and get 3 quotes. It's pretty hard to get 3 quotes on anything nowadays. So you sort of want to work with the person who's in front of you. That's a big opportunity for people in sales.
Yeah, especially with time being super of the essence right now.
Right, exactly. Katie, so biggest deal of the year. I mean, you've had several very large deals. Probably hard for you to pick one, but how did you swing it? How did you close it? How did you nurture it?
So obviously we're talking about donations, not necessarily deals.
They're deals.
What?
Okay, go ahead. They're deals.
Yeah, but I don't know. So the biggest one we had in 2020, so I'll just talk about last year since it was such a weird year. We had somebody who fundraised for us and within 4 or 5 emails raised $25,000 in the month of December. And it's the Charleston Gate Company, which is they control the gate through the port here. So like the port where all the shippers come, the gate that all the semi trucks go through, they control that gate. And so I don't know how he saw me. I think he saw me on the news or a referral or something, but he reached out to me and asked if I wanted to come tour the port last June. And I got to go up on the crane, the huge thing up in the sky that goes way over the ocean. It was the craziest thing ever. And we just developed this friendship, this relationship. And he said he wanted to try and do a fundraiser with the Charleston Gate Company. And he ended up, utilizing all of these major, BW Mitchum, and because they donated. And then he connected me with the guy that runs that. And then they ended up giving us our office that we have 4 empty rooms in a huge office all to ourselves for free. So out of this just developed so many different things, but he ended up, being able to raise us so much money at the end of the year. So that was huge. And it was just through networking and, nurturing and developing a true, genuine friendship.
Excellent. And can you go back to that well for more?
Yeah. I mean, he said he wants to do that every year. And I noticed someone that donated to that also is indirectly connected to someone on my board. And so he ended up coming to our gala and spending a ton of money. And I recognized his name because I see every donation that comes through and I thank each person individually. And I was like, oh my gosh, you donated back in December. I immediately knew. And so I've developed that relationship too. And it's just, it's also helpful. It's a small city. So a lot of, very successful people know a lot of very successful people. So once, I start to recognize the names as they're cross connecting. And it was great. And it was just through, when I went to the port that day, money months went by and I hadn't heard from him. So I reached back out and I said, hey, just wanted to know, how I could help you develop that fundraiser you wanted to do. And I just kind of brought it back up and showed, just really kept nurturing it. And, I'm not afraid to like, hey, you said you wanted to donate. I haven't seen that money yet. And, making sure that comes through. So it was great. And yeah, I think he wants to do it every year for us.
That's fantastic. I tease only a little bit, but, when we're, a lot of people try to make not-for-profits very different for-profits, but they're really just different designations and they may have different goals that, that designation helps them with. But it requires, in many cases, even more work than a for-profit.
Yeah, really, I always say a nonprofit is a business. I mean, that's the number one thing. Like, we still pay taxes. People don't really understand that we pay taxes. People are like, how do you get paid? And I'm like, the nonprofit pays me. Going places, even when I founded it, is the board is my boss. They decide my salary. They decide my raises. I get a W-2 from the nonprofit as if I was hired by any other business and filled out the same. It's the same stuff. And
you're accountable. You're accountable. Yeah. You have to bring revenue in, or they'll find another person.
Right.
The board can do that, right? Yeah. Jennifer Williamson, quite the business person. What has been your biggest deal this last year? How did you get it? Was it through networking, through marketing? How did you nurture it? Are you going to go back? Did you use a specific close? Please share with us.
Okay. This is not a typical close, but I'm just excited to talk about it. And this is for funding for my animation studio. And that has been a long journey. It's been like a good, it feels like a year, developing a ton of research. It's probably the hardest things that I've ever done. Getting out of my comfort zone and going to different industries and finding numbers and gathering everything and connecting it. And the social networking, so I had to put on full max to get the connections I have on LinkedIn. So that is the method of getting a lot of my the talent people and the right experience who worked at major studios like Disney and Pixar and Sony, etc. So that I ended up, having all those people in order to come on board, and then being able to get that the right investor. It just was a waiting game, so that requires patience from working with the capital raise advisor that I'm working with. She did a lot of digging and connections through her in order to find that right person. It's definitely focus a lot on social networking and LinkedIn, especially, in order to make that happen, and a lot of hard work.
Now, did you enjoy it? Was it sort of fun, the hunt? If it had come to you super easy, would it have been as rewarding?
No, I don't think it would have been as rewarding as when the effort you put in should reflect the effort you put out naturally. And it's definitely one of the most rewarding things, seeing, things come to life and having it in documentation. I just spoke with an architect who is a former economic development in Myrtle Beach area, and I would never have known about all the plots of land that's available for us to build and set up a studio. And super excited to find the right people to work with and potential architects to work with us in the near future, hopefully, knock on wood.
And this sounds like a super big deal. This is like, I mean, you've been talking about this for a year, and now it's coming to fruition, and you're with some major players there.
I've been underplaying it heavily just out of cautious optimism, naturally, because this is too big to really brag about if it doesn't go well. So, but I hope it.
I mean, I know you're gonna center it in South Carolina, but you're really, dealing with the East Coast. You're doing North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. I mean, do you feel that you're going to have some major impact in those areas? I mean, are you going to be hiring people and bringing?
Most definitely, it's not going to be a small boutique kind of thing. It's supposed to go on an international scale. When you want to do this kind of thing, you go big. You want to go international and hire as quickly and as many people as possible. So that would do a huge impact, especially in this Grandstand area where there's basically a lack of technology, lack of anything culturally advanced. So super excited to bring that here. More artistic things too.
I think you deserve, everyone should give her a round of applause that this has come to fruition. We've known Jennifer about a year, and now it's been a year and she's achieving some tremendous success. And like I say, every week, I'm very impressed with you, Jennifer, and what you've accomplished.
It's just started, so there's going to be a lot. I expect a lot harder things to keep going through.
I mean, it really looks like you grew 2 inches since last week. Is it possible?
I just stopped slouching as much. I gotta have it down my shirt.
You adjusted the camera down. She looks taller.
She's seems happier and more proud and more successful. Definitely. So success is contagious. We're happy to have you as a panelist on the show. Clint, Damon, welcome to the show. We're going to come to you last to give you an introduction and let you tell a little bit about what you do. Clint, say it, you're a salesman to the core. I mean, you do it through relationships, but of course, you recognize the masters of sales out there, of whose shoulders we stand upon today. The Zig Ziglars, the Dale Carnegies, the relationship salespeople. People that weren't coming in for one sale. In other words.
So I mean, that's you already know, Stephen, how I get all of my sales essentially are through relationships and networking, and they're friends at this point. I don't have any associates networking; they're all friends. And biggest deal this year so far. One of my biggest clients, they were a current customer that nobody had been able to get them to upgrade for 7 years. And they're in Chapel Hill. And so I went to go talk to them and stop by just to say hey and introduce myself as their new senior account executive, and then stop back by about a week later with a couple boxes of donuts, and then sent an email to the head of admin for the entire property, and got a meeting with her, and didn't talk about anything new, just asked how everything was going and introduced myself as their new person and see if there's anything that I can do to help them currently. And then she emailed me a couple days later, said we'd like to talk about new product, and it was about $165,000, when normal deals in my industry are about 10 to 11,000 or so average wise. So that's been my biggest deal to date. And then Scott, Jenny's worse half, gave me a lead up in Chevy Chase, Maryland. That's going to be about $80,000 as long as he says yes, which he will, because that's just what we do.
Well, I mean, you've been doing it a while. How old are you? You're 32, right? 32?
No, I'll be 42 in October, but thanks.
Okay, 42 years old. So you're that's like a peak in sales, for salespeople.
Sure.
You really hit your stride in your 40s. What about, developing a sales team of some sort, people underneath that you can teach younger people? I mean, I know you take people under your wing. Can you give us some examples of that?
Well, so my favorite thing to do is teach people how to network. And maybe one day I can get paid for something like that. But as far as having sales team under my wing, I've actually approached my company that I've only been with not even a year and a half now. Started the first day of shutdown last year, so March 13th, 12th, 13th, whatever it was. And I approached them about a BD role that they said, if you bring business outside, because we have territories, so you bring business outside of your territory, we'll see how much you bring and start, basing it off something like that, which is fair because they've never had a BD role before. And so, I want to be the guy that brings the relationships, that brings the sales, and I want everybody else to deal with all the other crap. I don't like all the other crap. I like this. So,
well, I mean, the good part about, wow, did you hear that reverb or did I just hear it? Okay.
Nope.
Only I heard it. Sounded like my voice coming at me 1,000 times louder. But you enjoy the networking, so to have a team and to be able to share with them, is great.
That's what I would do. Like if I was in charge of business development, I would make sure that I took my team out once or twice a week and to a different event to introduce them to you amazing people that I've met over the last 3 years, and have them start, building relationships with not you guys necessarily, but the people that the different people that that can help them just, spider out.
People come up to me and they say that they're having trouble getting business, and I'll ask them what they do as far as networking, and it's usually nil.
Nothing, right? Or, I came to this event last week, and I didn't get any ROI from it, so why would I go back again? Those conversations are great. I love.
Well, they don't understand it's about the relationship. If you've established the relationship, you've already had the return on investment.
Right, and the only way to establish a relationship is consistency. And you can't establish consistency if you go once to something and then give up on it. So, it took me 6 months before I got my first referral when I started networking 3 years ago. So,
right, and that's part of Rockstar Connect is efficiency in networking, being able to host your own event where people are coming to you, but also as an attendee, knowing that there is a type of event that you're familiar with how the event is run. Your expectations are set correctly. There's an etiquette regarding how business is developed at those meetings that everyone is aware of, because the rules are simple. And frankly, in life, rules aren't simple. So when things are simple and you get it, you're going to be successful.
Well, and also you and Sarah and everybody on your team allow the space for people to be able to do that. And so that's great.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. Last year, I told Sarah, as soon as we heard that things were shutting down for 2 weeks, I said, nothing shuts down for 2 weeks. You can't turn off everything and then turn it back on in 2 weeks. This is going to take a very long time.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of bureaucracy involved. And thank God our governor said real estate agents are essential. I said, well, I can still make a living. And now I am officially a full-time real estate agent again. And Sarah will run Rockstar Connect and keep it running and going and keep the brand moving, which she's done a fantastic job the last year. But because of all the networking I've done the last 10 years, last year, come back into real estate, had my second best year ever in 10 years. And then this year exceed last year in my first 4 months of the year because of the networking that I've done. We teach our hosts that through networking, they will have more business and opportunities than they will ever be able to handle. They can literally go and pick and choose what's going to be the low-hanging fruit, or if they decide to climb to the top of the tree for the harder to put together deals, they can do that too.
Yep.
So, thank God for networking as a part of sales. Indeed. And I think our better understanding today than ever that networking is possible, and the fact that there's equality in the networking world. It's open to everyone, regardless of how wealthy you are, or your religion, or your color, or anything. Rockstar Connect and other companies or other events like Rockstar Connect are available for you to succeed in your business.
Yep.
Thank you for your input, Clint. Jenny Midgley, I know your deals because you have a phenomenal deal every week, and I know that you've expanded your business. You have assistant working for you now, so that there's more Jenny Midgley out there. What has been your biggest deal in the last year? How did you get it? How did you nurture it? Was it from networking? Was it from your extensive social media, a combination of both? And how did you close it?
It's funny because I was thinking about that when you guys were talking about what the closing lines are, and I don't have one. because what I do is when I talk to people, the entire time I'm talking to them, I'm helping them imagine and visualize what it will be like to work with me. And I say, you know, when we sit down for your session, I use a lot of we and us and.
You know what that is? That's an assumptive close.
Yes.
Because you're painting a picture to them that they are already a client, and this is what you were not only going to be doing, this is what we're already doing, because I'm telling you this is what happened. So that is the close.
Right. But I don't have like a line. Like, that was my point. But yes, I use the assumptive language.
Your company is about telling a story.
Yep.
And one of the best ways to do sales is to create a story. Mm-hmm. Especially for, people like Mark and like Damon, who have something that, is a little oblique to people. They don't know, well, what does it mean if I save for my future? What does it mean if I pay less in taxes? What is that going to mean? Well, that might mean your children are going to go to college for the first time, the first people in your family that will ever go to college. Or that might mean you're going to work from your yacht.
Mm-hmm.
Or I picture you taking an extra vacation this year. That they can understand, because those are things they want or they've already experienced or they'd like to experience.
Right. And it's one of those things that when there's also 30,000 of you, right, of people who do what you do, it's how do you set yourself apart? And I think one of the key things, and I've heard so many people mention it, is number one is consistency. And, doing something once, I tell this to my clients all the time, like, because they'll tell me, oh yeah, I'm active on social media, and I'll go look at their stuff and they posted like 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, no, you're not though. Like, you may think you are because you go down the rabbit hole of commenting and going into groups and doing these other things, but you're not nurturing your audience. Number one. Number two is that authenticity, right? It's who are you, who you are when people see you here and when people see you out there in the real world. Because that's part of that story, right? If you're consistently putting things out there and you're consistently the same person, no matter where people meet you, that builds trust.
Well, you look at something like the Katie post. Like today, I was watching one of Katie's stories on IHOP. Has nothing to do with going places at all, her core business. But all I could think about during the IHOP was going places.
But I did not post that, just so everyone knows, on Going Places page. My personal page, I do a mixture of like everything. So I would never. If you're
consistent, you don't even have to post about going places, and people are still thinking about going places.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
It's because you've nurtured those relationships, and people who have found you because of going places are then attracted to follow you on your personal stuff, and then you build those relationships, and then people are going to be more likely. I mean, it's just this natural progression. And that's
like today I was watching looking at one of the Midgley posts that Jenny does, about her daughter, and her daughter's very enthusiastic, and she told such a story in it. I go, well, that's what Jenny does. She tells stories. So therefore, she was on my top of mind. If someone had contacted me for a referral today and they were looking for someone to help tell their story and establish their brand, it's the personal page. It's getting people from your business page, and then they end up on your personal page. To me, they're both business pages. It's another stage of the business. It's like you're now in the inner circle.
It is. It's a balance, right? Because that's a big thing for people is, how do I maintain, like, I'm a private person. How do I maintain that privacy? Like for me and for Katie, right? I can assumptively say, like, Katie and I don't post what we don't want you all to see, but otherwise our stuff is pretty much public, right? Like, I mean, what you see is what I want you to see. Not that there's like, I'm hiding things, but like, I'm not trying to like tell
it's
you
like
that I went to Staples to pick up business cards. Like if there was a great story in that, right?
And it's sort of like the yada yada yada.
Yeah,
you don't want to tell the yada. The part you want to skip on social media is the yada yada yada. Your true friends that you talk to personally, and sometimes not even for them.
Right, unless you're shoplifting and ditching on the paychecks and paying the checks on things. For those of you who do not understand that Seinfeld reference, I don't know if we can be friends.
Does everyone get that reference? Who doesn't get that Seinfeld reference? Yada, yada, yada. Sarah doesn't get it. Okay, so basically, Jerry Seinfeld's dating a woman on the program, and she would tell a story, and every time she would get to a part of the story that was controversial, the actual, real, interesting, scandalous part, she'd go yada, yada, yada. And that was when she was either shoplifting or she knifed someone or...
Right, or she got her free mani-pedi because she walked out because she didn't pay the bill. Like, it just, yeah.
So that's the part that yada, yada, yada you don't want to have on Facebook
No.
because you're mentally ill if you put it there.
And it's funny that you mentioned, like, my post from today, because I had written it and I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I actually went back and, like, I walked away and came back and finished it later because as I was writing, I was like, I wasn't in the zone. And then that's what I published was what I felt was like a better representation.
It was a really good post because I went through all the pictures. That's when you have a good post, when you open up the pictures and you know you're having success because people are commenting deeper into the post.
Yes. And I will say, when you do that, don't put more than 5 pictures, y'all. Do not put more than, don't make people sit there and look through a 37,000 photo album.
Especially
Please do not photo vomit. You can verbal vomit and photo vomit. Don't do both.
Especially if the important one is the 37th photo.
You can also add several pictures onto one story slide. If you really show them all, you don't have to make people look through 20. You can put 20 pictures in 3 slides. You know, so it's like a collage.
Right.
Well, stories are great. And we're going to let Damon tell his story a little bit, and then you can answer excuse me, Damon, you can answer the question of the week as well. I'll rephrase it to you. So Damon works is out in Oklahoma. Why don't you tell us a little about what you're doing? You're a host. You have a business. You have a lot of friends. Let's hear it.
I do have a lot of friends. I'm such a friendly guy. I am a certified financial planner and wealth management advisor. I'm an investment advisor at Chapelwood Financial Services in the Oklahoma City area. A lot of you know Victoria Woods. You've met her on these events before. So I work with Victoria, the financial diva. She's a supernova, and I'm just orbiting in her little galaxy. It's fun to work with her. We're new to the Rockstar experience. We just joined, so we haven't even had our first event yet. It's scheduled for July, so thanks to Kim and Sarah and the team for getting us up and running. But, you know, it's interesting hearing Jenny and Katie talk about stories. Others of you have talked about stories. Before I became a wealth management advisor, I was a professional fundraiser in the nonprofit world for 12 years. I worked in major gifts and planned giving. And I asked for multi-million-dollar gifts. And I got to a point where I stopped calling them gifts. I started calling them investments. Because a gift, the connotation of a gift is that you're giving something and you expect nothing in return. You give $1 million gift, you don't expect nothing. You expect a return on investment. It just might not be in the stock market. It is, I built that school, or these people got fed, or these, you know, this mission was supported. So even today, I talk with nonprofit professionals, use the word investment instead of gift. But anyway, I told stories. That's how I raised money. I told stories. And even today, in this business, it's all about storytelling. Victoria and I host a weekly radio show, and it's all about stories, actual client stories. Just this past weekend was the debut of our new television series, and here locally in the Oklahoma City area. And we tell stories. We told our personal stories. Why do we do this? You know, I think a lot of times our clients, our customers, they see us, they hear us, they even meet us, but we're still not quite human. And sometimes they want to hear from us what makes us human. And I told on this television show the story of why I became an advisor. The fact that I, in my early 20s, found myself $20,000 in credit card debt, and I had to work 3 jobs to get out of it. But in the course of doing that, I learned how much I loved to teach other people. And I learned a lot about managing my money. So I got into this business not because I really enjoy investing, but because I enjoy teaching other people how to build wealth. Not just get out of debt, but how to build wealth. And of course, within the context of telling that story and telling them how I fit into their story, that's when they make the choice to hire us.
That's fantastic. Can you share with us what your biggest deal in the last year has been personally?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm going to tell you the coolest story. Okay, so this just literally happened. So 5 years ago, I had two clients, Dan and Teresa, that listened to our radio show. And they came in and visited with us. And at that time, they were interviewing a lot of different financial advisors. And at the time, I was still relatively new in the business. I was new to Chapelwood. And if I go back, I probably lacked confidence. I didn't really project a lot of confidence at that time. I probably talked too much. I didn't listen enough. And they ultimately made the decision to go with another advisor. And I just agonized over that because it was $1.5 million account. Okay, $1.5 million of assets under management, which at that time, and even today, was a pretty nice account. Well, a few weeks ago, we get a phone call from Dan. They're unhappy with their advisor because they did not get the plan that they thought they were going to get. They feel like they lack direction. They have continued to listen to our radio show. They have continued to receive our drip emails, our weekly emails that we send out every week, newsletters, videos, social media posts, podcasts, just something. I mean, I did a broadcast. I was at Alcatraz Island, and I did a live broadcast in front of Al Capone's cell, and I tied it back to taxes. Okay, there are always opportunities to teach and educate anybody. They continue to get that. 3 weeks ago, they call us, schedule another appointment. They come back. I say, what's motivating you to come back to us? Okay, why am I so pretty now when I wasn't before, huh? And they said, we just don't feel like we've gotten a plan. Met with them last week, analyzed their statements. They came back yesterday, hired us yesterday. Now the $1.5 million account is a $2 million account. And I'm like, all right, baby. So there you go.
Like, and that's great.
And the cool thing about it is yesterday, as I was showing them, I didn't even talk anything about the investments. For 45 minutes, I talked nothing about the investments. I showed them the income plan, and I showed them at your income expectation, you're going to run out of money. They didn't like that, but at least they knew, and their previous advisor did not tell them that, and they didn't know. And so I actually shared bad news with them, and we still got the account. So that's probably the biggest thing. But yeah, we had our best year last year, added over $20 million in assets under management in a pandemic year. So I'm really excited for what Rockstar can do for us. In this work, I don't get out of the office very much. Victoria is kind of our face outside the office. And so I'm here and I meet with all the clients. I do all the work. I manage the day-to-day function of the office, but I realized I didn't get out enough. So I'm excited. July 15th is our first event. So wish us luck. And I know, it takes a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, but if you stick to it and enjoy it, you'll have a lot of success. What I like what you're talking about is education. I mean, Mark Sher always talks about education, and it's so important. I mean, I find with my clients, the majority of my conversation with them is not about the investment or an individual property. It's about the education of the process. And once they understand the process and they're confident, they can wholly buy in to whatever the opportunity is. Is that right, Damon?
Absolutely. People, they get it. To me, it's a pretty simple formula. If you just tell people are looking for directions. Okay. They want to know, where should I go? What should I do? And I don't know if anybody else here is a Kiss fan, but I love Kiss, the band Kiss. Okay. And I've seen them multiple times, and I'm going to go see them again in Tulsa here pretty soon for the second time in a couple of years. And their lead singer, Paul Stanley, he said something really great. He's like, look, I'm a revival leader. I just happen to do it by singing rock and roll music. When people come to us and they see a show, they want to be told what to do. Get up, cheer, stand, let's get your energy going. And that's what I do. I just happen to sing songs to them to get them to do that.
I mean, they're business people. Paul Stanley
That's
and
right.
Gene Simmons are incredible. I mean, you follow the business.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting than their performing career.
Absolutely. Look, is their music the greatest in the world? No. I don't go for the songs, although I love the music. I go for the show. I go for the spectacle. I go to be a part of something.
The camaraderie.
And I think people are looking, they want to be a part of something. And if you can give them that experience at a certain level, they'll pay any price. You know, what's the song, the Journey song, paying any price to roll the dice just one more time, right? So that's kind of the way I feel.
Education is very expensive. When you go out and you purchase education, it's very expensive. So therefore, you know, people that are in sales that educate, they should not be embarrassed at all by the riches that they're able to achieve when people appreciate the education they're receiving.
Yeah, people want to learn from other people who they want to be like.
Who they want to be like. Well, it's been a great program. Thank you, Damon, for jumping in. You got it right away. Sam, I hope you had a great time. You're having an event on this Thursday. Is your event Thursday, tomorrow?
Forgive me, I had to unmute my microphone. It is tomorrow.
In Charlotte, you got to check it out. The South Grind. It grows every single month. We are not going to be able to join you tomorrow. Sarah and I are actually moving into our new house. It's only taken about 3 weeks after we closed on it to do it because there's just been absolutely no time. But to me, you can really judge your maturity by how you do your move. So, you know, when you were young and you were in college and you'd sell someone, you give them a 6-pack of beer and you move them in your truck, they lend you their truck, or you'd end up every weekend moving someone else. That's like when you first start off your life. And then you hire a professional mover, and then you hire someone to pack for you. Well, we're at the level we want them to pack and we want them to unpack on the other end.
I was going to say, it does not look like anything is off of your bookshelves.
Well, this will all be packed. Everything will be packed tomorrow in 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The entire house. So that's what we've been told. So we will see. It probably will be 8 hours, but they're optimistic.
So you won't have to do it, which is
I'm not even going to be home. I'm working tomorrow. I have a client out from California that has to buy 4 houses in 3 days, which is challenging in this market, but we will achieve that. It's always fun to be able to go out and spend $2 million and know that's what you're doing and that's what the plan is. And then into my new house 2 days later, sleeping hopefully in my bed that makes it there. So, anyway, just a funny story real quick. So our dog is a digger, and we always praise him for digging, which we have now found out is a mistake. Because one day we were sitting out here in the living room, and he was outside of our view, which is a big mistake with this dog. And he's making a bark he's a happy bark, come see what I've done, come see what I've done. Well, Sarah had taken the top off our new $6,000 mattress, and it looks sort of like the beach, the sand at the beach. He dug a hole all the way through the mattress. Just like a big, giant hole in the mattress. I said, Sarah, just close it up. I'll pretend I don't see it. It's at my leg. I'll live with it. But keep an eye on those bad doggies out there. Everyone, will see you next week. 3 Martini Lunch. If you have a Rockstar Connect event coming up soon, host, congratulations. And please send us new hosts. We're opening up all over the country. We're now doing over 20 events a month. We have a long way to go till we're back to 150. But the Rockstar Nation wants it. So everyone, see you soon. Thank you.